Hey, I'm Bobby Halton, and welcome to Dregerfest. It's the 1st of October, and this is Dregerfest. I'm coming to you live today. I'm in Houston, Texas. It's an absolutely gorgeous day here in Texas. They say every day is gorgeous in Texas, and I got to back them up on that. And we're at the fantastic Dreger facility right here in Houston, Texas. And it's the Dreger Safety Facility, right. Which is how they call it. And it's just a really neat place. We're going to be covering a lot of ground today. I'm going to be dealing with live fire training. We're going to be dealing with SCBAs. We got John Salka and Ricky Lasky. We'll tell you more about that in a minute. A pretty neat company. If you don't know much about Dreger, I'm glad you're here with us today. And you might have noticed that when they spell Dreger, they put two little dots over the A. Why do they do that? Well, they're a German company, and that's how the Germans say Dreger, right? They say it with a little more A, I guess.
Right, yeah.
So it's from Lubbock, Texas. That's where they're from. What's also neat about Dreger as a company is they're trading, but they're still owned by the family. They're fifth generation. The family still owns Dreger, and they're still alive, and they're living in probably the Lubbock area, and kind of a neat thing. So it's kind of a neat deal to know that this big company is still basically a family company. Another neat thing about Dreger that I think firefighters are going to really love is that how Dreger got its start is really kind of interesting for us. 100 plus years ago, they were trying to figure out how to get the carbon dioxide levels correct inside of kegs. Herr Dreger, 5 generations ago, developed a valve that regulated the carbon dioxide pressure, and ergo, you could pour a good glass of beer. So every time you raise a glass of beer, you can thank Herr Dreger 5 generations ago for inventing that valve. Pretty interesting story.
That's neat.
Yeah. And since then, Dreger's just been involved in some really fantastic research. And you might want to know that Dreger's been right here in North America for over 100 years. And they've been building SCBAs specifically for firefighters for 80 of those years. Now, while we're here today in Houston at the Safety Division, there's a whole nother part of Dreger you should also know about. They make respirators and ventilators and neonatal equipment. If it has to do with breathing, Dreger's involved. It's a really amazing company. I really want you to go to dreger.com and take a look at. They're really, really neat people. And I'm so grateful to have us here today and to bring to you 3 Degrees of Mayday and to talk about SCBAs and training and everything else we're going to do. Dreger's kind of the original innovator of the SCBA. It's really kind of a neat story, and I'm going to be able to tell you more of that as the day goes on. And the reason why we put this together the way we did and why we wanted Ricky and John to talk about 3 Degrees of Mayday is because when you're talking about a Mayday, a firefighter in trouble, air pack, the SCBA matters, your available air, interoperability, buddy breathing, RIT, all of that, comes into play. When we're talking about, again, Mayday or any fireground operation, it's the environment, right? It's the toxic gases. Very few firefighters and civilians lose their lives to the thermal event. It's the smoke. And the smoke is basically gas, and it is gas, and it's those toxic gases that claim our lives. So that's why we have the gas detection section. The other part of it, which is near and dear to Mike and Paul and I, and it should be near and dear to everybody in fire engineering, is the training. We're going to talk about live fire training. And if you don't think that training is the most important part of your career as a firefighter, then you flat out don't know what you're doing. So we're going to really focus heavily on what Dreger can do for you, regardless of where you are financially, what Dreger can do for you to help you get live fire training in your department. So it's going to be a really, really neat day. Now, while we're talking about all of that, Paul and I, we're real firefighters, and so is Mike. So our questions are pretty general, just like yours. But some of you you're the logistics chief or whatever, and you have really kind of technical questions. You might want to know something that we can't answer. That's okay. Experts are standing by, both in Canada and the United States. They speak Canadian on the Canada line. So you can call up and say A all you want, and they won't give you a hard time like I would. So I want you to, if you have a question, here's the neat thing. Everybody who signed up today gets one of those no-touch devices. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
But if you call in and you ask a question of one of the Dreger representatives and give them some information, you'll get one of these really amazing T-shirts. Really, really cool T-shirts. And also, at every section, after every section of what we do, Dreger's giving away one of these super cool coolers. And these coolers, supposedly, last for 5 days. And amazingly, I won 2 of them already.
No.
So I'm just saying.
Right.
I'm just saying. So we got some amazing giveaways. Remember, you get to no touch them. And you also, if you call up one of the reps from Dreger, right, you'll get one of these really cool T-shirts. And we will be giving away a cooler to everybody who registered. Not to everybody registered, but to one person who registered. Everybody's in the drawing there. So, all right. So that's a lot. I apologize. We're talking really fast because I want to get to the meat and potatoes of why we're here today. And we want to start off with talking about probably the second most important piece of equipment in the fire ground. To me, the most important piece is the water delivery system. Right. The second most important piece is the piece that keeps us safe and enables us to complete the mission. And that's the SCBA. And that's probably what you're all most familiar with. Dreger's been making SCBAs for the American firefighter, for firefighters around the world, for over 80 years. So that's a big piece of it. But what are they doing today? What have they got to offer? Why should you look at Dreger? Well, let's start off by looking at a short video, and then Paul and I will come back and we'll tell you a little bit about what Paul and I have done in our careers, and we'll talk about how we feel about SCBAs. But right now, if you could just give me a couple minutes of your time, let's take a look at this short video on SCBAs from Dreger. Sam, roll the video.
When's the last time you tried on a Dreger SCBA? If you haven't tried one lately, you need to request a demo. Dreger makes the most ergonomically comfortable SCBAs available today. The current certified SCBA meets the 2019 edition of NFPA standards and meets all the requirements for U.S. Assistance to Firefighter Grants Program. Before putting on the Dreger PSS 7000 SCBA, notice how the waist pad pivots and floats. It also includes 3 different height sizes, small, medium, and large. This makes sure that the Dreger SCBA fits any size firefighter comfortably. The weight of a Dreger SCBA is meant to sit on your waist comfortably, not on your shoulders. The carrying system assures that the cylinder sits at a lower center of gravity to make it more ergonomic and less stressful for the firefighter.
Dreger's NFPA SCBAs come in 2 varieties, a PSS 7000 Sentinel 7000 or a PSS 5000 Sentinel 7000. PSS 5000 Sentinel 7000 is for budget-conscious departments. We don't have photoluminescent hose route coverings. There's not a height adjustment on the top yoke assembly. And on the lower lumbar pad, it does pivot left and right, front and back, but it doesn't slide up and down. On the PSS 7000, we offer some advanced features. PSS 7000 includes photoluminescent shoulder carry straps, 3-point adjustment for comfort for height adjustment, small, medium, and large, lower lumbar pad assembly that also pivots left and right, front and back for comfort, but also slides up and down to float on the back of the user. For a cylinder release, it's either a CGA valve, this threaded connection, or a quick connect for the cylinder. Quick connect is our most popular option because with a quick quarter turn, push down on the ring, releases the cylinder. To connect the cylinder, line up, push in, and close your retention strap again, and it's changed. Another option for the NFPA SCBAs is the UEBSS, which is the buddy breather. For Dreger, we offer a 40-inch buddy breather option, which will have our universal connections for the SCBAs. The Dreger FPS 7000 mask is our solution for the NFPA SCBA. Our NFPA mask has a panoramic distortion-free lens that curves in 2 directions to give it optical clarity.
Dreger offers 2 in-mask communications options. Perfect for small teams, the FPS Com 7000 offers standalone hands-free communication between wearers. Both the FPS Com 7000 and FPS Com 5000 can be connected to the tactical radio. Both options offer digital sound cancellation and robust features. They're perfectly balanced additions to any face mask to allow for stress-free operation.
The Dreger FPS 7000 mask and LDV have a non-indexing connection. That means that once I connect, I can then rotate 360 this way and 360 degrees this way without getting to any particular locking point, which is important during normal operations and even RID applications. We have a 5-point harness assembly with 4-point adjustment. On the inside of the mask, we have 3 sealing edges, an outer seal and 2 inner seals for maximum comfort. There are also 3 sizes. This mast comes in a small, medium, and large. We also have a 1, 2, and 3 nose cup for maximum flexibility in getting a proper fit test. And our 2 independent releases on the LDV regulator have been added. This offers a greater dexterity for the firefighter in the field, and it makes it a lot easier to operate. The other changes that we have is in the pneumatics and the first stage pressure reducer. The first stage pressure reducer and pneumatics now operate at a greater temperature range. Draeger's NFPA SCBAs offer a 15-year bumper-to-bumper warranty. That includes first stage pressure reducer, pneumatics, back frame, electronics, other hoses, harness assembly, straps. Everything on this SCBA other than O-rings and on the mask exhalation valves and the hairnet and the lens. That's the best warranty in the industry. It covers all the major components and only the consumable wearable parts are not included. On the inside of the SCBA, you can see that our hoses are routed up through the back frame itself, so we don't have any exposed medium pressure or high pressure lines to the outside that would be an entanglement hazard to the user. The battery compartment, this uses 5 AA batteries. Those 5 AA batteries utilized an hour a day, every day for a year. This will last 1 full year. Below that is an emergency backup battery. In the event there's a failure of the main battery pack, this backup battery pack will actually continue to power the head-up display device and the mask for continued air pressure readings. We have our Draeger SCBA on, so we reach back, we turn on the cylinder. First thing you're going to hear is the whistle. That's our low air alarm whistle. You hear it for a very short period of time. Next thing you're going to hear is a lot of beeps and flashes. Those are system checks. Now, this process is completely programmable on the PC Link software. Some of the stuff that you typically see is your battery life indicator, if you want to do a leak check. And once you get to that point, you'll have the normal operating screen, which gives you a couple of different things. Around the outside edge of it is an analog representation of the cylinder pressure, kind of like the old analog gauges. The next number there is actually the cylinder pressure in PSI. One below that is number of minutes before you go into low pressure air alarm. This is calculated every 30 seconds based off the cylinder pressure and your respiratory rate. Now you're Draegered up.
If you're ready for the industry's most comfortable SCBA, Draeger up.
Hey, we're back. We're in Houston, Texas at Draeger Safety headquarters here. It is an amazing day. I've got Paul Tarter with me. He's the product portfolio manager.
Right.
And big fancy title for he's the guy that can tell you about SCBAs on the fire ground, which is really, really pretty cool stuff. So Paul's not only working with Draeger, he is also working full-time as a career firefighter.
Part-time now, so
part-time.
yeah,
Okay.
part-time.
And you've been with Teeks for a while? as an
Yeah,
instructor?
takes almost 20 years I've been there as a guest instructor.
Now, are you on TF1?
On Task Force 1 as well. I'm a plans guy.
Plans guy.
Yeah.
A sit in the office kind of guy.
Oh, not that. Come on.
So Paul's on the line with us, which is really, really neat. And I want to remind you, if you have a question about any of the stuff you just saw in the video, any question at all, if you go over to that column and get in there and talk with one of the Draeger folks, you get one of those amazing T-shirts, which is really, really cool. They're great T-shirts, and you get your question answered by somebody who knows what they're really talking about. So tell us about Draeger. It's a German company. I've been around the building. Where do they make the SCBAs? Where do they make the equipment?
So all this is a German company. The SCBAs are actually manufactured in Blythe, England. That's up by Newcastle. So phenomenal facility out there. We have great people. Again, if you go anywhere in Europe and the rest of the world, Draeger is the #1 SCBA worldwide.
Okay.
So a lot of great things.
Is everything done in Blythe? Or?
So no, the SCBA, the pneumatics and the back frame and all that is made there. Our masks are made in another facility. Our comms are made in another facility. It all comes together to come over here. We have some straps and other assemblies and pieces and parts that are made here in the U.S.
Oh, really?
So we do have a production facility outside of Philadelphia.
Really? So right there in Pennsylvania, So the UK and all these other places,
yeah.
everybody sends it to Philly, and the folks, it's like
They put it together.
they get the Rubik's Cube, and they put it all together. So we just got done with an NFPA standards revision, and everybody's very familiar with it, and pretty amazing standard. I think they, in my opinion, is a fantastic job.
Right.
Of the choices, it's a much narrower field now.
Yeah.
So Draeger is one of the ones that we can look at that meets the standard. Tell us about your brand. Tell us about Draeger. Why should we be looking at Draeger in regards to that standard?
Well, Draeger, like you had pointed out earlier, we're a breathing air company. That's what we do. We have done either in medical or in safety almost since our inception, right? So with our system, it delivers performance. Our first stage pressure reducer is fail-safe, proven by NIOSH to be fail-safe. So you'll always get air no matter what. You can't outbreathe our system. So our system, our LDV or regulator, will actually deliver like 550 liters a minute.
Okay, so what is can't out? So
you're working hard.
yeah.
And you ever get that where you're working really hard, you're trying to breathe,
You
just
can't stuck your face piece.
Yeah, you just can't get enough air. You're not going to have that with us.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know some guys that can suck down a lot of air.
I haven't found anybody that can suck down that much air.
Okay.
That's 550 liters.
My wife would argue with me, so I just throw that out there. So you can't outrun it. It's put together all around the world and then assembled here in the United States. Meets my NFPA standards.
Right.
So that's some really good stuff. So we're looking at the video, and I thought it was kind of neat. You know, and when I started off a long time ago, our SCBAs were pretty simplistic.
Right.
Very little adjustment.
Right.
So now 3 sizes, up, down. Talk to me about why that should make a difference. Why does that matter to me and on the fire ground? How does that relate to me operating in the real world?
Sure, no, perfect question. What we do is on the top side, we give you an adjustment, small, medium, large. So you're not the same size as I am. So why do we have an SCBA typically that is one size fit all?
Right.
We give you the ability to adjust that and make it fit you where it's ergonomically correct. So on a fire ground, our SCBA is designed for the weight to be on the hips, not on the shoulders. So by doing that adjustment, we don't have a binding up here. If you've ever been over and you actually feel that pinching or pulling on the shoulder straps, with the Draeger unit, you don't have that because we adjust it properly. And then our lower lumbar pad actually swivels a high degree left and right, front and back, and then slides up and down. So as you're bending, the SCBA kind of floats on your back. So as a firefighter in the field, you're not getting that fatigue, you're not getting that pinching when you're trying to work, you're not just getting all the energy sapped out of you just from wearing an SCBA.
Yeah, and I've been at some jobs where we had it on for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
And then, and obviously, especially when you're doing an investigation, you're doing an overhaul, but even if, just on the job, if you get an involved fire, you could be in your SCBA for quite some time.
Oh, yeah.
And I thought it was kind of interesting because, it isn't like when you're buying a jacket, it's long and tall or whatever. You could be a tall person, but you might want a shorter back setup because of the way your frame is thrown together, with the length of your legs and all that. I thought that was pretty neat. So my question to you is, I'm coming on shift, and I'm coming on shift. The guy coming off shift was Alan Brunacini. So he's 3.5 feet tall.
Okay.
So I get my pack. I'm like, kidding. Alan's rolling around in heaven, mad at me again. So I get that pack. How tough is it for me to change it from, say somebody who's small and I want maybe medium or large?
Yeah, don't even have to take it out of the seat on the truck. You just reach up, there's 2 tug, press those together and make your adjustment right in there. I mean, it's literally seconds to get it done.
Okay. I thought that was some pretty neat stuff.
Yeah.
So in the video, it showed 5 batteries, 5 AA's. And this wasn't really clear to me.
Okay.
So in the video, we see these 5 AA batteries, and if they fail, then the backup batteries come into play. But if I put my backup batteries in at the same time I put my AA batteries in, why should I assume that they're going to be good? How's that work?
So our 5 AA batteries actually power the whole SCBA system, right? The back frame, the pass alarm, everything else. Those 5 AA's, if you use the SCBA an hour a day, every day for a whole year, you'll never change the batteries at the station level. So we design it so that the technician annually replaces those batteries.
Okay, so it's like 360 hours?
360 hours, 365 hours, if you will.
Okay.
Now, the battery backup system is there just in case Murphy's Law happens, right? Something happens to that primary battery pack. That backup battery pack kicks in. It's a CR123. That powers your heads-up display. So you always know how much area you have, regardless of what the batteries do.
So if we're on the fire ground, I don't have to. I can go to my backup batteries. How long are my backup batteries going to get?
Oh, like 30 hours of operational time.
Okay, so cover that. So the mask is different.
Right.
I wear a lot of SCBAs. I get out a little bit these days, and folks let me put their stuff on, and it's all great stuff. So Yours is a little different. Talk to me about yours.
Well, ours is designed to be optically correct and comfortable. Again, the ergonomics concept, right? So our lens, literally, as the video showed, our lens actually curves two directions. It curves left to right and top to bottom, so that when you look out, you don't get any distortion. If you see that, I mean, it goes way around. So if I'm standing here looking at my peripheral vision, I put on a mask, I have 96% of that normal peripheral vision still available.
So it's a great line. Dragger up. I love, you know, my boy was a Boilermaker, so boiler up is just an ad. So dragger up. So when I'm going dragger up and I'm putting on my dragger, the one thing I did notice, and I don't sell draggers, but what I did like is this.
Yes.
When I had my face piece on, I could see my toe, I could see my boots.
Right.
Which is a big deal. And it's not just because my feet are gigantic, but no, I could see, you know, that you can see in the photo. I don't know how well the folks can see us behind us, but you can see the face piece. You've got some vision there. I wish I should have. I apologize. I should have one to show you, but talk about that.
Yeah, the way our mask fits is it's close to the face. Our regulator clicks in down here low. So with it clicking in down low, I don't have it protruding out the front, therefore obstructing my vision down this way. So if you can see your toes standing there without a mask on, with our mask, you can still see your toes.
Okay. So again, going back to that video, we had a comms thing that operates independent of my fire TAC channel.
Right.
So it's a talk around for who?
Yeah, so COM 7000 has Team Talk. So Team Talk is literally, if you and I had masks on, we could sit and talk mask to mask, full duplex, hands-free. So it's a built-in radio into the comm unit.
So talk to me, engine 1, engine 26, ladder 14, we're all on at a fire. Does everybody hear me, or does just engine 1 hear me?
Whatever you decide. Depending on how you set up your SOGs, it can be by functionality. So you can have engine 1 go in doing interior attack. They can be on channel 1. And you have another group, another ladder company doing ventilation. They can be on a separate channel, so they're not over-talking each other.
Hey, this is great. So Adam, congratulations, brother. Adam, and I don't know where you're from, Adam. I apologize, but thank you for sending this in. Adam asks, can communications attach to portable radios? Are they wired or wireless?
Both, actually, Adam. I mean, with us, you can either do a hardwire connection from the mask, either a COM 5000 or COM 7000, either one of those two, directly to a radio, or we can do a universal connection to a lapel mic that goes to a radio. Or if you're using currently a Motorola APX series radios, we could do wireless Bluetooth.
That's a great question, Adam.
Yeah,
thank you for sending that in. You can ask a question anytime. If you do, we've got a great person standing by. They're going to write your question down. Hopefully they'll give me your name. And here we go. We got another one. This comes to us from Brett. How does the COM 5000 attach to the mask?
So COM 5000 is what we call kind of a semi-permanent attachment, right? It clips on, and then it has one screw in there that retains it so that it doesn't come off or anything like that. It actually keeps the exhalation valve kind of covered and protected, but it's semi-permanent. So there's one screw. Outside of that, you can remove it without any additional tools.
So semi-permanent, that's kind of an interesting word. That's like almost married.
Yeah, almost.
What do you think? Or almost pregnant. What is semi-attached? So
well,
do I have to take it off and on all the time, or?
Yeah, no, you don't have to take it off all the time. And the reason we say semi-permanent is that it's on there, it's easy to remove, but it's not something that you would do normally at the station level. Where our COM 7000 has no tools at all. It can easily be removed and put back on at any time.
Wow, this is fantastic.
Yeah.
And I'm getting some great questions. Yeah. So while I'm looking at your questions, some of them fit in really well, but this is a great, so I'm going to do a little bit of, I'm an editor, reportedly, and you all know I'm lying. So I've got a great question. Joe is asking about the height adjustment. So, and I didn't think about this, Joe, so another great question. Put my SCBA on, but I've got a long back or whatever. Right. I put it to the maximum. Am I going to hit the bet in my brim? Am I going to pump out my
No.
Am I going to hit my helmet on my bottle?
That's a great question. And no, the way we do ours is that our cylinder always stays low center in the back. The height adjustment has nothing to do with the cylinder placement or anything else. It's strictly a height adjustment for the shoulders.
Oh, so it doesn't change the bottle height?
No.
So to answer your question, Joe, no, it won't. So this is another good question. Landon said prescription glasses. How does that work with this panoramic face piece?
If I can, I got one right here.
Bring it out. That's what we got. Grab a face piece. That's what I was hoping for. Here we go.
Yeah. So in here, we actually have our prescription lenses. So if you have prescription lenses, we can do that.
That's fantastic. I don't know, let's see. I'm trying to see my feed here. I don't know if Mr. Cameraman can see that, but they're they're kind of right there. I'm going to hold it up as close as I can. There's your prescription 7.
Yep.
There's your glasses. So I'd be draggering up and just put my deal here, and I have my glasses on. There you go. That's nice.
Yeah.
That's a nice fit. So this is what, don't mess with this. This is live video. So the question I want to get to is decon while I'm messing around with this.
Sure.
And my fingers don't work. I'm an old man with health issues. So when I'm wearing this, and I don't know what size this particular face piece is.
That's probably a medium. Yeah.
But what I was talking about earlier is I can look down and see the ground, which I really enjoy. So decon, we're on the fire ground. We're all talking about decon.
Right.
Cancer's real, everybody. We all know that. How difficult to decon a Draeger versus everybody else?
It's not difficult at all. As a matter of fact, the comm units that we have and our heads-up display don't have to be removed on the fire ground or for technical decon. So you can submerge and clean the whole mask with everything on it, or we make it relatively easy to take those components off and to get a more technical decon. Same thing with the SCBA.
So what do I need to decon?
So what are your protocols? So you're following 1852. So we get all that kind of stuff. We'll do that. We can take off the straps. We can take off the straps very easily. Within about a minute, you can take off the straps or less. And then we got the cleaning bucket that's coming out that we just actually launched now. It has some brushes and decon solutions in there. So it's a new product for us. We're actually bringing that out.
There you go. And so a new product, but how much does that cost?
Oh, it's not. We're giving that away for the first 3 months to actual fire departments.
Good stuff. They asked me to mention that, and I did. So, which is important stuff. So you get a free cleaning kit with it, and a special cleaning fluid and all that good stuff. So gross decon, we're all good with that. Technical decon, what are we talking about?
Technical decon, just get back to the station. When you get back to the station, there's only 10 steps to remove our entire harness assembly. So you can actually get into all those cracks and crevices, take that dirty harness assembly if you wanted to, remove that, grab a new clean one because we have a new cleaning kit, our harness assembly kit, put on a completely clean harness, put the dirty components in a mesh bag, that goes into the extractor for cleaning and more, to be compliant. So yeah, it's really, really easy.
So if you've been hanging around fire engineering for any length of time, you know us, and we like to have fun. And one of the things we did was we asked the Draeger folks to have Paul break down a Draeger SCBA, but they timed him, so they made it pressure packed. So one of the things that we wanted to see was, and I think this is really important, I think one of the drills we ought to do in the fire service, seriously, Paul, not only donning and doffing, but breaking it down, because you want to get that muscle memory, you want to know the parts of the equipment, you want to be breaking it down like any other tool on a regular basis, right? That's how you find problems. That's how you find things that don't work. And obviously, your air pack is the second most critical piece of equipment on the fire ground, and for your personal safety, it may be the first most. So we asked them to have Paul make a video of that. Then just before we run Paul's videos, this whole thing is going to be available for you to watch throughout the rest of the fall. It's going to be for a couple of months. So for the next 4 or 5 months, this will be free. You can come online and watch these videos anytime you want if you want to show somebody. But right now, I want my buddy Sam to key up the video of Paul with a timer on, and you'll see they only gave him one shot at it.
Yeah.
Breaking down a Draeger SCBA with a timer running. Sam, would you roll that video, please? That was good. That was good. And you may have noticed that he didn't have any of this silly face hair. I yelled at him. The first thing I said, we literally just met this morning. We probably bumped into each other on the job, but I said, what are you doing? Go shave this guy. So I'm just teasing. So you never get the old chief out of you. So we're taking questions right now from the audience. If you got questions, we've got people standing by to take your questions. If you got a technical question and you want to get one of those fantastic t-shirts, go to that sidebar. You'll see where it says ask a question. Go to that, and that's how you get those t-shirts. Everybody's going to get the touchless. And in a few minutes, we're going to give away that first cooler. But so let's take a couple of these questions coming in. Does a second stage regulator attach to the mask in only one direction?
Oh, absolutely not. Our regulator is what we call non-indexing. So it doesn't matter what orientation it goes into. All it needs to do is connect and click.
So non-indexing means it's not threaded right, it's not threaded left.
Right.
It's like a Stort's Quick Connect.
Right. Yeah, I can put it in upside down, right side, doesn't matter, as long as you connect it.
Beautiful. Joseph wants to know about the heads-up display. Is it in my regulator or in my mask?
It's in the mask.
It's in the mask.
It's wireless and it's completely automated. You don't have to ever do anything to it.
You never touch it?
Never touch it.
Heads-up display.
Right.
What do I have in my heads-up display?
Yeah, your air quality level, some of your air levels, so cylinder pressure. You also have your connectivity, so you know if it's connected or not. And you also have battery indicators, not only for the SCBA, but for your heads-up display.
And mask sizes, large, medium, small.
Large, medium, small nose cup, so we can fit a variety of different faces.
And this is a great question from Roy. When I'm doing my fit testing, so I'm at Bipperville Fire Department, I decide to go with Draeger. Do I test large, medium, small, or do I just test one generic deal?
Well, we do large, medium, small because you need to actually fit test in the proper mask, right? Our mask actually, about 85 to 90% of the folks will fit test in a medium mask because of our seals. We have 3 edges, 2 sealing areas. So most of us, you and I, would both fit in a medium mask.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. That's interesting. And I will check that out. So I'll get back with you. Jeff asks, what's the maintenance on a Draeger SCBA?
Well, our recommended maintenance annually is just checking the O-rings and exhalation valves. Very minimal maintenance. Biggest thing with most SCBA is just wear and tear on the harnesses and the first stage pressure reducer. So that usually has an overhaul or rebuild periodically based off years. Or ours, never touch it. Lifetime guarantee, 15-year plus warranty on our first stage pressure reducer. The end user never touches it.
So lifetime is 15 years.
Lifetime 15 years. It'll last much longer than 15 years, but our warranty stipulates 15 years. But that covers all components.
Like my third marriage, it was guaranteed for 15. I'm just kidding. So I've only been married once. So this is a really important question. Interoperability is the whole deal. And obviously today I wanted to kind of bring in, to me it's about education and training. So we're going to be talking about May Day in just a few moments with John Salka and Ricky Lasky. Interoperability of a Draeger. I'm in Bipperville. They're on, MSA, they're on Scott, they're on Honeywell, they're on Interspirit, they're on whatever.
Sure.
How does my Draeger interact with everybody else?
Well, for the 2019 edition, then our buddy breathers, our EBSSs, will all mate between all manufacturers.
Universals.
Universal connections, just like our universal air connection with our down by our cylinder connection.
Okay. Hey, so there's your answer on universals. And thank you, Brian. I appreciate that. Was a really good question. Sue wants to know about Team Talk, and that's an interesting deal, Team Talk. Give us the 411 on Team Talk.
So again, Team Talk is a voice amplifier. It can connect to a radio, wireless or Bluetooth, but it also has the radio.
So voice amplifier, so like when I'm standing next to you, for real close proximity.
We're amplifying out the mask, just like we're ultra familiar with voice amplification, right?
Okay, so I'm gonna, Sue, if you don't mind, I'm gonna keep digging into your question. I think it's a really good question, Sue. Okay, so I decide I want ladder 14, engine 1, squad 8.
Right.
I want them on, say, the 38th floor division, whatever you want to call it, 38th division. I want them to all be able to talk to each other.
Sure.
So my truck company's in the back of the 38th floor, my engine company's in the front of the 38th floor, my squad searching, whatever. They can all talk.
Yeah, so you can do up to, there's 10 channels to choose from. You can put up to 10 people on a channel.
Okay.
Inside of a building.
People or crews?
People, individuals, because it's a mast to mast, 10 masks, if you will.
10 masks.
Inside of a building, you're looking at about 90 feet range through buildings, walls, all that kind of stuff. When you get outside, think hazmat spec ops. You're looking at about 300 feet line of sight.
Sue, I love this question. Final question for you.
Yeah.
So I've got Team Talk. Firefighter goes down. I'm looking for him or her. Can I put her into the Team Talk if she wasn't in before? Is there a way for someone to do that?
Yeah, it's a selection on the mask. No, what a lot of folks will do is that they are already on that as a crew.
Right.
If I know that she was on another crew with on a different channel, I can go to that channel. What's neat about Team Talk is I don't have to physically reach up and touch anything to talk. So if I fall or I get injured or I get captured or whatnot and my hands can't get to a radio, I can talk just a mask, you to me, and say, hey, I'm over here on the BC side. I can't get to my radio, help me out.
Sue, that was a great question. Thank you. That's a really neat kind of deal.
It's a new tool.
So anyway, we've got a couple of other questions here. Can comms be changed to switch at shift change, change of shift?
COM 7000, very easy. Just snaps on, snaps off. COM 5000 can be, but it's a little bit more labor intensive. Again, remember you have that retaining screw on there.
Okay. And this is kind of a generic question, and John's asking about 45-minute versus 30-minute bottles. Just more air.
More air. 30 minutes, a little bit lower profile. 45-minute, obviously more air.
Right.
Some new cylinder technologies that are coming out there. I know that there's 5500, but we got the new Luxfer Eclipse and super light cylinders that are coming out. So it's an approach and how your department wants to do things and what your capabilities are.
Yeah, and what problems you face.
Right.
You got large storage warehouses, you got high rises, or you've got primarily residential and smaller standalone commercials. So, but that's a great question, John. That's a real operational question. It's probably something that Rick and John are going to talk about later on at the 3 Degrees of May Day. So we did have a question about Bluetooth.
Okay.
So how does Team Talk and comms work with Bluetooth?
So right now we're working with Motorola on the APX series radios, and it's if you're familiar with hooking your phone to a remote speaker, Bluetooth speaker, same application. So we can pair the masts. Once you pair it at the beginning of the shift, you turn the units off. When you make that next call, turn the units on, they automatically repair, again, just like your Bluetooth speaker on your phone.
So I'm going to ask my producer, how are we doing on time, sir? Mr. Producer? I don't want to run too long because you guys we got questions coming in.
Oh, yeah.
These are great questions. And if you sent in a question and we can't get to you on the air, I'm going to ask the good folks at Draeger to give you a call, if that's okay with y'all, if you registered for this. So anyway, I'm just going to keep going from it while my producer makes sure I'm not going over time. I don't want to do that, and I want to clear in time to get John and Rick on. Team Talk, can that be monitored by command?
That's a touchy subject.
Yeah,
as a chief, you want to hear what's going on. So Team Talk is for the crews.
Okay.
The only way a chief or command officer can hear what's going on is if they put on a mask.
Oh, okay.
And I have to politely kind of just say that's the reason we call it Team Talk and not Command Talk.
Okay.
Now things that are coming across the radio, chief, are the very important situational awareness things.
Right. So this is the simple stuff like where's the Halligan?
Where's the
It's
Halligan?
right there.
Pull more hose.
Right.
You don't hear that now over the radio because they're Team Talking.
John, move over an inch. Sue, Sue, bring me that.
You're right.
Hand me the flashlight.
Right. Yeah.
I get it. So it's utilitarian talk that we want on the fire ground. So thank you for all of these great questions. Hey, listen, I want to keep it moving along, and if we didn't get to your question on air, someone from Draeger will be getting back to you. We did have one quick question about the NFPA standard. In the video, we talk about 2019,
right,
but it was actually the 2018 standard that had to be modified because of the question and answer period.
Right.
So it's kind of like Prince, the artist formerly known as, it is now the 2019 standard. So this is kind of an interesting question. Brad wants to know if NFPA or 30-minute cylinders NFPA compliant.
Yeah, so.
As far as I know, I hadn't heard any reason for the difference. So I'm good on time. Okay, good. Then I'm going to go back to a couple of the questions because I thought I love questions, and I think when people ask something, it's always neat to answer it, even if I have no idea what they're asking about. And this is seriously, I don't work for Draeger. I'm just here to facilitate them talking to you about their product.
Right.
So, but this is kind of an interesting question to me. Someone must be talking with one of your folks because they said the warranty issue is confusing to them, which is why you're here.
Right.
So, which is better, ownership or 15 years?
So
what they're talking about?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. We talk a lot about cost of ownership, and that's how much it costs to keep an SCBA up and operational day in, day out.
Okay.
That's battery replacement and O-rings and exhalation valves. Those are all those types of consumables.
Okay.
When we talk warranty, those are the parts that are manufacturer's defect that we warranty that they're going to work for 15 years. They're not going to come apart, fall apart, those kinds of things under normal operating conditions, right?
Okay.
So that's where we say everything on our SCBA minus the consumables or 15-year warranty.
Got it.
But it's going to cost you, cost of ownership, X number of dollars a year to keep that unit up and running with replacing batteries and those kinds of things.
Okay, so kind of like the real hardware stuff, you
Right.
know, inner workings, pressure, pneumatics, and things of that nature that are in there, that's on you.
Right.
The other stuff, like straps, that's the stuff that I can abuse and beat up and, you know. And let's be honest, my training gals that when I was doing live fire, my training officers, they would go in and those guys and gals they would beat those straps up fast. I mean, we were always replacing harnesses because those folks use them almost every day.
Sure.
You know, and some of them use them, you know, 4 and 5 different evolutions a day.
Yeah.
And those are expensive stuff. And so that's on me.
Right.
Right. So, and that's why at the academy you always get the beaters. I was like, you know, hey, we got some stuff that's no good. Send it to the academy. So, but that's the real world, right? So we're gonna. I think I got just about everything done on questions for right now. They're not running any more into me, so I think we're pretty good. So I'd really like to thank all of you for joining with us. Remember, you can get a T-shirt by asking a question. You're going to get one of those no-touch deals, and right now, someone is going to get one of those gigantic, fantastic coolers. And I was kidding earlier, but these coolers really hold ice for up to 5 days. Now, see, I was raised in New York City, and that means that you can keep the body in the trunk for 5 days. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. It's a terrible joke. It's a terrible joke. But so the winner of the first ice chest is Joseph
Tucky.
Joseph Tucky from Tecumseh Fire Department. Joe,
hey,
congratulations, man. You can you're at the next union meeting. It's on you. So you'll be taking care of the beverage break. So thank you everybody for joining with us. If you look at your schedule, what's coming up next is going to be a webinar, but it's going to have Chief John Salka from the FDNY, retired, and Chief Rick Lasky from Louisville, Texas, retired. And those two gentlemen have been involved in RIT operations. They've been involved in Saving Our Own program. Was really, if you want to know the genesis of that, out of the Illinois Fire Services Institute, you know, it was Rick Lasky and Colame and Bobby Hoff and John Salka and John Norman. And it was just this cadre of incredible thinkers and really innovative people. Dave McGrail. If I've left someone off, I deeply apologize. But these men and women at that time were way ahead of their time. And with us on this webinar in just a few moments are going to be Chief Salka and Chief Lasky, who were two of the principal movers and shakers. And I took the training from them. This is probably 25 years ago, maybe longer, when that program was just starting. And it was an amazing leap forward in what we were doing on the fire ground. And we have a lot to be grateful. But those two gentlemen in particular have never stopped innovating, have never stopped looking forward, you know, much like all of our great manufacturers, like the folks you represent here at Dreger. And so, you know, what they're going to present to you at this afternoon's webinar is called 3 Degrees of Mayday, which is a brand new program they've only been doing for the last year or so. So it's an amazing program, and during which we're going to go back and forth and have more talks. So, and the good folks from Dreger are putting that on for us. So we really appreciate you sticking around and coming back for Dreger Fest. So that starts at about 1:30 Eastern. And then we're going to come back. Oh, no, I'm sorry. That starts in about 30 minutes. I'm sorry. Then we're going to come back about 1:30 Eastern, and we're going to be talking about gas detection on the fire ground. We're going to have Phil Ambrose come in. We're going to be talking about training systems, and we're going to have Mike Foster.
Chief Foster.
Chief Foster. And Mike's been doing training, hardcore training for 30 years, DFW Airport. We were laughing earlier. We had trained together. I ran into him yesterday, and you know, in the fire service, you're always bumping into people. And I look at this guy, and I'm like, I know this guy. And I'm on the phone, I'm talking to somebody, and you know, I'm all over the place. I'm just a hot mess. And I'm looking at this guy, and I'm like, how do I know this guy? And we're talking. We've drilled together. So when I was working in Texas, we went to their facility, and you know, and so we're laughing. You know, I remember that. I was a captain. I was the chief of this, and we had a great time. So Mike will be on with me after John and Rick, and then Paul's going to come back, and we got Phil Ambrose.
Yeah, Phil's great.
And like, if you don't know Phil Ambrose, Glendale Fire Department, but he's HAZSIM. He's Phil from HAZSIM. And I'm not as versed as these guys are on gas detection and monitors and all of that, but Phil is. And so it's going to be an amazing day. It is October 1st. Do you believe that? It's October 1st. This is Dreger Fest. COVID style. So we'll be back next year with Dreger Fest 2, but this is Dreger Fest 1, and you can tell people you were actually there, and which is kind of neat. You know, it's like Woodstock. Everybody was there. You're not old enough. I know. So we're really glad that you're with us. Join us for the webinar with Chief Lasky and Chief Salka, and then we'll be back with live fire training systems, and then we'll be back with gas detection on the fire ground with Phil Ambrose. Thank you for joining with us. Stay tuned, and we'll see you in about 25 minutes.